Video 13 of True Devotion to Mary by St. Louis de Montfort. True devotion to Mary must be disinterested. Lastly, true devotion to Our Lady is disinterested. That is to say, it inspires the soul not to seek itself, but only God, and God in His Holy Mother. A true client of Mary doesn't serve that august queen from a spirit of lucre and interest, nor for his own good, whether temporal or eternal, corporal or spiritual, but exclusively because she deserves to be served, and God alone in her. He does not love Mary just because she obtains favors for him, or because he hopes she will, but solely because she is so worthy of love. It is on this account that he loves and serves her as faithfully in his disgusts and dryness as in his sweetness and sensible fervors. He loves her as much on Calvary as he does at the marriage of Cana. Oh, how agreeable and precious in the eyes of God and of His Holy Mother is such a client of our Blessed Lady, who has no self-seeking in his service of her. But in these days, how rare is such a sight! It is that it may be less rare that I have taken my pen in hand to put on paper what I have taught with good results in public and in private during my missions for many years. I have now said many things about the Most Holy Virgin, but I have many more to say, and there are infinitely more which I shall omit, either from ignorance, inability, or want of time, in unfolding the plan for forming a true client of Mary and a true disciple of Jesus Christ. Oh, but my labor will have been well expended if this little writing, falling into the hands of a soul of good dispositions, a soul well born of God and of Mary, and not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, John 1:13, should unfold to him, and should by the grace of the Holy Ghost inspire him with the excellence and the value of that true and solid devotion to our Blessed Lady, which I am going presently to describe. If I knew that my guilty blood could serve in engraving upon anyone's heart the truths which I am writing in honor of my true mother and sovereign mistress, of whose children and slaves I am the least, I would use my blood instead of ink to form the letters in the hope of finding some good souls who, by their fidelity to the practice which I teach, should compensate my dear mother and mistress for the losses which she has suffered through my ingratitude and infidelities. I feel myself more than ever encouraged to believe and to hope for the fulfillment of all that I have deeply engraven upon my heart and have asked of God these many years, namely that sooner or later the Blessed Virgin shall have more children, servants, and slaves of love than ever before. He puts a footnote to that. Notice the association of these terms, child and slave. Similar use of these terms was made by the Catechism of the Council of Trent, Part 1, Chapter 3. De segundo symboli articulo, in fine. Keep that in mind. The Council of Trent uses that terminology too. Part 1, Chapter 3. So, and that by this means Jesus Christ, my dear Master, shall reign in hearts more than ever. I clearly foresee that raging beasts shall come in fury. I clearly foresee that raging beasts shall come in fury to tear with their diabolical teeth this little writing, and him whom the Holy Ghost has made use of to write it, or at least to smother it in the darkness and silence of a coffer, that it may not appear. That's exactly what happened to this writing. They shall even attack and persecute those who shall read it and carry it out in practice. There's a footnote here. This is very important, because exactly what he just said actually happened. It lends credence to the words that are in this book. The prediction just made by St. Louis de Montfort was fulfilled to the letter. Throughout the whole 18th century, the spiritual sons of St. Louis de Montfort were persecuted by the Jansenists for their zeal in spreading this devotion, and the precious manuscript of de Montfort remained hidden during the troublesome times of the French Revolution, which was 1789, and was brought to light only in the year 1842, when it was found in a chest of old books by a Montfort father. By the way, he says, I clearly foresee that raging beasts shall come in fury to tear with their diabolical teeth this little writing. I mean, we know he's not lying. He clearly foresaw this. Diabolical is a word taken from the Greek, to tear asunder. That's where the word diabolical comes from. They shall even attack and persecute those who shall read and carry it out in practice. But what matter? On the contrary, so much the better. This very foresight encourages me. He again makes reference to this fact, his testifying to, he foresees this. These are the best rosaries, these little plastic ones. They never break in your pocket. Men keep them in their pockets. And all of the expensive ones get broken. But what matter? On the contrary, so much the better. This very foresight encourages me, and it makes me hope for great success. That is to say, for a great squadron of brave and valiant soldiers of Jesus and Mary, of both sexes, to combat the world, the devil, and corrupted nature in those more than ever perilous times which are about to come. Quote, he who reads, let him understand. St. Matthew 24:15. Quote, he who can receive it, let him receive it. St. Matthew 19:12. We're almost at 10 minutes. I think I will make this a full frame and do the next one on a new frame.